Imagine a scenario. A software startup company, featuring 3 development teams and utilizing Scrum framework, starts working on something promising and significant: AI integration to the existing product solution. They decide that the next quarter will focus on developing an AI that aims to deliver the minimum necessary toolset for their clients. They define a backlog and stuff it with features and priorities. Teams, let's name them Eagle, Tiger, and Lion, pull the tickets from the backlog for their sprints. This is where problems start. Team Eagle discovers that the feature they pulled depends on the feature Team Tiger has pulled. They decide to wait until Team Tiger has completed development. Simultaneously, Team Lion work is shuttered to a halt when they realize they don't have enough members with sufficient skill set in the domain area. Lion must learn it from scratch and waste time on catching up. For all those teams, Eagle, Tiger, and Lion, the majority of the features remain in the backlog. Complex and tedious, these neglected features gather dust in the backlog as teams prioritize those that meet deadlines. The work on them will only start after an additional decomposition and the manager's speech. In the best-case scenario, a company will spend 60–70% of time on features, and the rest of the time they will be figuring out planning. This scenario isn't rare, but a pattern that often plagues growing tech companies. For many years, Scrum has been a popular framework to organize and execute software development. The process is pretty straightforward. Define and prioritize a backlog, break down the release cycle into iterations, and pull the important items each iteration from the top of the list for the team execution. Team members select work they'd like to do from the iteration tasks, based on their preferences. Sounds simple and easy to follow. However, there are some nuances. Scrum is designed to work perfectly for only one team. When more teams are involved, the process doesn't scale well. The backlog grows massive. Work items have many dependencies and are specific to particular modules and domain areas. Tasks allocation is based on the tightrope of juggling between priorities and particular team member preferences. Consequently, sprint planning is messy and time-consuming. Short-term planning by sprints may answer the question of delivering particular features or use cases within the next weeks or months. However, many projects require many months or even quarters to deliver, with no way to prioritize and track the process of those projects in the Scrum process. For teams, sprints are essential. From the strategy standpoint of the company and its clients, it's chaos. Sprints put boundaries on release timing, which does not necessarily fit the features MVP size. This creates an artificial need to place barriers, such as feature flags for functionality that are deployed within the sprint, but dormant until the feature is completed. Now, after we went over the caveats of the traditional Scrum process with sprints, let's think about alternatives or potential improvements to the process. Let's craft a thought experiment with a few adjustments. First, we remove boundaries for sprint planning and replace it with boundaries for company planning. A milestone that features a particular strategic goal, such as a key result or direction, and the time constraints that match it, such as quarter, year, etc. Second, instead of allowing teams to select tasks, we allow them to select their domain area and specialization. We then allocate those tasks between teams manually, or preferably by developing a script, or using the automated scheduling and planning app like the Planner, which takes into account task estimates, priorities, dependencies, and team capacities. Third, teams perform their tasks based on their assignments and using continuous delivery to commit their work. No more feature flags. Upon changes in priorities or delays in implementation, the remaining tasks on schedule are reallocated based on the new conditions by maintaining the strategic milestone focus. It is important to let the teams finish their work on tasks in progress or replan them to avoid disruptions in development and teams' dissatisfaction. In my work as a project owner, I practiced this approach multiple times and found that it shows very encouraging results. Our planning time and the related communication has decreased by 70%, with almost 90% of backlog completion by the end of the milestone. My team has a clear vision of priorities, agency over the work they prefer to do, and less anxiety and confusion over the features we will be able to deliver by the deadline. Very important for us and clients. And my team can still be flexible and predictable and use all of our team's resources wisely. I want to emphasize that this approach only becomes effective when using automated tools that enable quick and effective planning and adjustments. Use the planner to quickly create a blueprint of a plan by using backlog and team configuration. Adjust plans and replan items that were delayed or deprioritized in seconds. Provide real-time visibility for roadmap and current team priorities for developers and stakeholders. I also highly recommend Git and Azure DevOps for continuous deployment. Try it and share your experience.